that you will start to see the benefit of using brokers, not walking into banks straight away. And think about the interest rate in the dollar terms, not percentage. And look at the business finance as tools for your business, not just a debt hanging over your head. So unfortunately, most of businesses, when they need money, they still walk into the bank straight away because they bank with them and they think they know you, so they can get the money from the bank. But there are a lot of questions you need to ask yourself because a lot of small to medium businesses are not quite bankable. Does your bank have an appetite for your particular industry or the purpose you are looking to fund? Are you a property owner? How long do you have ABN? Are you the GST registered? Do you have ATO debt? Have you been meeting the employer's obligations? What about your credit scores and credit histories? And how about your management team and your experience and skills in the industry and also business itself? What your lease agreement looks like for your business premises? What type of contract do you have with the debtors? So depending on the scenarios, you may fit into the bank's box, you may not. So I'd like to share a story of one of my clients because I really think that it highlights those three things I want to share with you today. The benefit of using brokers, interest rate in the dollar terms, and a business loan as tools, not just a debt. So this was a Sydney-based business, fast growing, and it was in its fifth year, had 4 equal shareholding directors, and had no tangible asset within the business. They were approached by the third parties, they wanted to buy this business out. 3 directors were keen, 1 was not. Because this director saw the potential of this business, it was growing fast, so he didn't think it's a great idea to sell it at this point. Luckily, because of the shareholding agreement, you need to talk to Clinton about it, that he had advantage of buying them out at the agreed price. So they agreed, and then he just walked into the bank. The business banked them, he had mortgages with them, he had all the personal banking with them, so he thought he can get the money. Well, bank said no. He had 2 properties, but it was mortgaged up to the eyeballs. He had no cash to contribute as a deposit. So this was definitely not the bank's deal. So I received an email from the CFO service provider saying, "Hey Miss, I got clients who need $1.2 million in the next 7 days. Can you do it?" I'm like, why do I get only 7 days? So apparently, if bank took that long to just say no, if he doesn't come up with the money in the next 7 days, he will lose this contract. So I had to look at it and I said to him, this is what I can do and this is what I can't do. I can't get $1.2 million in the next 7 days, but I can get half of them in the next 7 days. And I suggested him to go back to the vendors and negotiate the settlement term to be the staggered settlement. Half of them to settle in 7 days, next half to settle in at least 3 months later. So that gives us time. Luckily, the vendor agreed. So, loan product number 1, vendor finance. Because the vendors agreed to give us 600 grand for 3 months, that was a 600 grand, 3 months term loan, interest free. Good for us. Loan number 2, unsecured finance for short term, 300 grand. Because this business had a quite healthy turnover, I could utilize that to get the 300 grand unsecured loan for the short term. Loan number 3, debtor facility. They also had a really healthy account receivable, which I could utilize as a security to get the extra 300 grand. So 600 grand vendor finance, 300 grand short term unsecured lending, 300 grand debtor facility, 1.2 million. First stage settled in 7 days. Yay! In the following 3 months, that was enough time for this business to build up this debtor facility we just used so that we could withdraw 300 grand out again for the end of the 3 months. And we organized 200 grand, another unsecured loan. This was especially organized outside of policy agreement, with the exit strategy being the big bank will come out and then refinance this whole loan. So 100 grand to go. And we knew that there are new minor shareholders coming in. So we organized small loans under their personal name to buy those shares before the second stage finishes, so that the share purchase price could cover this 100 grand shortfall. So we settled the second stage. Now I have a bit of a tidy up to do. So this director who did not qualify for the bank loan at the beginning of this stage now actually qualified for bank's loan. Because of those multiple steps we took and the way we structured the loan, he can get the bank's loan now. So we got one of the big four to organize the unsecured 600 grand, longer term, lower interest rate loans to pay out loan number 2, 300 grand unsecured loan from the non-bank lender, loan number 5, 200 grand, another outside policy 200 grand unsecured loan, and we had 100 grand change that went into the cash flow of the business. So a lot of people make mistakes of trying to get to the final destination with one giant step. But it's actually better to take some of the small steps to get to the final destination. The problem with banks though, they know about only their product. And they have access to only their products. Where the brokers, we have access to so many different lenders that include banks, second tier lenders, fintech lenders, non-bank lenders, and private funding, which gives us access to so many different products which we can pick and choose from and mix and match to create the complete package for the client. So, business finance is a solution finance. So the cost of the business finance is a cost of your business. So you need to think about the cost of the finance as your business expense and take into consideration. Business loans are tools for your business that you can utilize. But just like any tools, you need to pick the right tools for the right purpose. So this client, when I met them years and years ago, they were doing about 400 grand net profit, which was shared between 4 different directors. Today, they are doing $2.6 million net profit after directors' wages. And that client is still major shareholder of this business. Do you think he cares about those double-digit interest rate he had to pay along the way? I doubt it.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? And what the alternative would be? Loss of opportunities? And what's the real cost of that? So I really do hope that you have a different perspective of business finance compared to the 10 minutes ago. So thank you so much for your attention.